Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. In this screencast, I want to look at oxygen and answer the question, what is it? Is it a theme? Is it a page builder? Is it the best thing ever? Who's it for? What are the gotchas? The Oxygen 2.1 beta was recently released. It includes full toolset integration, so I'll use that beta for this video. Let's get started. First thing I want to do is show you some of the differences between Oxygen and a regular quote-unquote page builder. So here we have the free Ocean WP theme. No page builder is activated, and I've got a few blog posts here. So let's go to the plugins and turn on Elementor. Now let's see what's changed on the site. Nothing. Nothing has changed. Let's go add a new post. And actually the only change we see is on the post edit screen. There's the option to edit with Elementor. But otherwise, having Elementor activated by itself, there's no difference. Let's turn Elementor off and turn on Oxygen. There's no header, there's no footer, there's no blog template applied. We just have the blog title and content. So what Oxygen has done is it has taken over for the theme. And if we want a header and footer and template, page template or blog template, we're going to need to create them. So that's one difference between Elementor or other page builders and Oxygen, is that with Oxygen you have to do the theming part. It's required. Whereas with Elementor or Beaver Builder, it's an option. You can use their theming capabilities if you want to, but you can also use the theme. So I'm actually going to look at the theming capabilities and demonstrate that briefly. But before I do that, I want to show you another difference, another characteristic of Oxygen vis-a-vis other page builders that I think is important to keep in mind. And to do that, I've made some templates for Oxygen. I'm going to turn those on, so don't worry right now about how I did them. I'll show you how I'll make one in a few minutes. But first, I just want to turn these on. And okay, so this is my blog layout made with Oxygen. And here's a single post layout made with Oxygen. So what I wanted to show you was that I have a page here that I created with Oxygen. I've got the title here, but there's no feature image or content. I created the page totally within the Oxygen page builder. So this is, not only is it have theming capabilities, it's also a page builder. I added an image and I added a text field here. Okay, and so if we save those and go to the front end, this is what it looks like. Now I want to go and turn off Oxygen, go back and take a look at that page, and the content is gone. So this is an important consideration, something to keep in mind, that content that you create with Oxygen as a page builder is dependent on having Oxygen activated, or you'll lose it. It's not the case with all page builders. Beaver Builder and Elementor, for example, handle that differently, and let me show you that. Here's a page I made with Elementor. Okay, and I've got, the WordPress title, but there's no featured image, there's no content in the default content editor. Everything's within Elementor. So here's the image and here's the text. Okay, if we go outside and exit Elementor and view this page, that's what it looks like, pretty much what you'd expect. Now, let's go turn Elementor off. And go back to that page. And we see that the image that we added and the text module, the content from the text module we added, is still in the content. Elementor put that back in the content. We lost our styling and layout, but we didn't lose our content. There's another small gotcha that I wanted to show you before we look at templating. The free OceanWP theme actually has a lot of customizer options, but Oxygen removes all those. And Oxygen also removes the widget options. Remember, you have the widget area here where you can create sidebars. Well, some widgets might not be compatible with Oxygen, so they remove that. Their documentation suggests that if you want to create a sidebar, use the Woo Sidebars plugin. There's some other ones also, but this one works. And what it does is basically you create a widget area, which I've already done, called main sidebar, and then you can add widgets to it. So anyway, that's another little step and a little gotcha. If you've got some widgets that you need, they may or may not be compatible with Oxygen. Oxygen, the WordPress widgets, the ones that are compatible, are available inside the Oxygen editor, and you can use those when you're making your layouts and templates and whatnot. So does that mean that you shouldn't use Oxygen because things that you create with the page builder itself will be lost? I don't think so. What I think it means is that you need to work smart. Oxygen has some really powerful templating features. And what I want to show you is that if you use a templating feature, you won't lose your content. Okay? So I've turned Oxygen back on. If we look at the single post, when I turn Oxygen off and we go back to the OceanWP theme, this is still here because it's the content area. It's the layout. The template that was created with Oxygen dictates the layout, but the content is I'm using the WordPress editor, the featured image, the title. That all remains. So if you want to use Oxygen, I'm encouraging people to take advantage of the templating features so that you don't have that lock-in. Now, if you are going to be on a site where you're going to need to make lots of landing pages or unique pages, well, those will have to be recreated if you ever move away from Oxygen. So you might want to use some sort of builder plugin, page builder, instead. That may mean you choose not to use Oxygen, that you're going to use a theme plus a page builder. although you can use a page builder with Oxygen to create the content. Seems a little overkill to me, or a little odd to have kind of two builders going, but it's something they say you can do. But anyway, I just thought that was important to highlight, and now I want to show you how to create a template in Oxygen. I have a custom post type here that I created with Toolset called Books, and I entered 3 books. We have our title, our featured image, and our content, which are standard WordPress elements. And then I added a custom field for Amazon link to where you go to purchase the book if you want to. So this is a custom field, dynamic data. And if you're familiar with WordPress, you'll know that the dynamic data won't show by default, and kind of a WTF of WordPress that your custom fields don't show by default on the front end. But so let's create the Oxygen template for the single book. I told you that I created the templates already for kind of the defaults. This is the header and footer. Doesn't inherit from any other template. It's not assigned to singles, archives, but it is set as a catch-all, and it has template priority of 0. Okay, so what I want to do now is add a new template for book single. I want to inherit the header and footer, and this is going to be for books. And I'm going to update that, save it, and now we'll go edit with Oxygen. This here is actually, this content area is actually this block here, enter content, in the default template. So the default template has a header, a footer, and in the middle it has an enter content element there. Okay, and so I want to replace the enter content element. So I'm going to start out by adding a section. And what the section does is gives us some padding on the side, so that's why I'm starting with that. And then I want to add in some columns into that section. On the left side, I want to add the featured image. Now, I've been kind of going quickly here, but let's stop here at the featured image. You notice that there's an option to browse and choose something from the media library, or a data button. If you click the data button, you have the option for featured image. You could use a toolset field, author pick, user pick. You can even enter PHP here. But we want the featured image. We'll take medium and insert it. So now it's pulled in the featured image, and that's probably, we don't need 40, 25 looks good, 25%. Now on this side we want to enter the content. So Oxygen has several groups of modules here. This one, there are containers, there's text, links, visual, other, code block if you want to enter code. There are these helpers, header builder, social icon, pricing box. This easy posts is used for your archive, for archive layouts. Slider, other options. There are these WordPress elements, menu, shortcode, comments, comment form, dynamic data, widgets, WordPress widgets, sidebars. Library, these are the design sets that I was telling you about from the different themes. If you wanted to use some component from the theme, you could drag that in or use that. But what I need is I want to use the dynamic data. We'll start with the title. Okay. Then I want to add a text block where I'm going to add the meta. And you notice there's this insert data for dynamic data up here. So I'm going to insert the date. And now I'm going to insert the author. Okay. And now I want to go back to dynamic data and add the content. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Now let's add that custom field. Put a button here. Okay, and for the URL, we'll go to a toolset types field and the Amazon link. And I think we want the raw URL. Open in a new window or tab. Here are some of the styling and layout options. Let's center that. We're going to center that. We'll center the book image as well. Let's put a margin on top. Okay, so there's our single book. Let's save it and exit out of the admin, out of the editor to the admin. And now let's go and look at what we have. This is our archive, which doesn't look very nice because of the way the images are. So we'll come back and fix that, and I'll show you something else. But here's our single book that we just created. Okay, so that works well. So now, like I was saying, this is, I created an archive layout in Oxygen and applied it to all archives, but you see it doesn't quite look nice with the books because it's cutting off the covers here. So what I did is in Toolset, I created a view called Book List View. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go to Templates, Oxygen, and I want to create a book archive that's going to override this. So we'll call it Book Archive. I want to inherit, get the header and footer. It's for the archive. It's for the post type book. Okay, and now, see, I have an archive already for all archives, so I'm going to give this a higher priority than the other one, which is 0, I think, and save that. So for books, it'll override the default for all archives, and for books, it'll use our archive that we created. Okay, so I'm going to add a section, and then in that section, I am going to add a toolset view. And there's my view. I only have one toolset view. If I had others, I could choose it from the list. Okay, so now let's save that and go to the front end. When I go to the books archive, that's what I have. So anyway, I wanted to show you that as kind of an integration with toolset that's nice. So in conclusion and summary, I think that Oxygen is really powerful and it has a lot going for it. However, there are some gotchas and things that work differently. A big one is that it takes over your theme, and you're going to need to create your theme and layout. I can see two advantages to that. Number one is in Facebook groups, the number one question people have is, what theme should I use with my page builder? Well, if you're using Oxygen, you can just ignore that because it doesn't matter. The second advantage is that if you have a project where you've gotten comps from the client, maybe Photoshop layout files, image files or something, and you have to make a theme from scratch, Oxygen is going to be a real time saver, and it's powerful enough to let you do that. There's one issue, which is loss of content for pages built with Oxygen as a page builder, and that's important to keep that in mind. However, if you use templates and avoid using Oxygen for your page content, then it won't be an issue. Oxygen is not a builder that is targeted to people who don't know what they're doing or who aren't familiar with WordPress. It is for developers and power users who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. One thing that struck me while working with Oxygen is that the creators of Oxygen seem to have a really deep understanding of WordPress and how it works, and I was very impressed with that. Obviously, Oxygen isn't for everybody. Many people are probably used to working with themes and page builders and have a very quick and efficient work process already worked out for that. However, I hope that this video looking at the question, what is Oxygen, gives you a deeper understanding and maybe some insight into types of projects where Oxygen would work for you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.